Robin here from Expert Island, and today we're going to be doing a live demo of the new Alto TX215. So that's the new series, the TX2 Series, and we're going to be doing the 15-inch model first. So all the way from where the camera is, so we've got ourselves a Marantz condenser microphone up on top, along with the Marantz audio interface underneath. We've got it set at 25%, which is why you're probably having a hard time hearing me as much as you're not going to have any difficulties at all hearing the speaker in a moment. So all the way back here, set up on the tripod, is the actual TX215. Now it's a 600 watts peak power. We'll get into more details, but first so we're going to cover the speaker, then we're going to bring it to the table and look closer at the actual overall features and some of the applications that you can use it with. I consider it to be a commercial speaker at a consumer price. So this is really big to have a listen to this and see what you like out of it. So we're using some license-free music from YouTube because, well, that's license-free and that's what we got to do. So. That's running at about 75 dB, which is basically twice as loud to 3 times loud as talking level. And we didn't add any EQ to that. We didn't add anything more. That's just neutral on the mixer, neutral on the back of the speaker. So next we'll do this over again, and we'll add a little bit of EQ to that, so we can see how much better we can get it. And also we'll bring up the gain a little bit more on it, so we can see how much volume we can get out of it. There we go. So that's that part of it. Now, the idea there is 24 feet away, and we did get up to 80 dB at 24 feet. So I know a lot of speaker companies give you these big, high, massive dB ratings, which is how loud you can be. You can look at a chart and see all the differences, but this is definitely 4 to 5 times louder than I'm talking to you. So definitely not going to hear anybody standing next to you at 24 feet away, which is kind of really the important part here. Still had gain levels that we can bring it up a little bit more on the speaker, but I think that's pretty much at a comfortable loud level with extra bass and extra treble and all that going on. So we'll go from here. We're going to take it off to the table, and we'll see in a second. Okay, so we're not actually at the table yet. We're here where we actually line up all our speakers and make choices on what size and what type of speaker you're actually looking for. So before we actually go there, I thought maybe we'd take a moment and cover who's the speaker for, because it's not a commercial speaker full-blown. Let's say it's something a DJ would take out to do 150 people at a wedding, but at the same time it's not that backyard, I just want a Bluetooth speaker with battery in it so I can have some fun. This is kind of in the middle. You're going to get that commercial power and reliability and dependability, but not with the volume level that you normally do, because at the end of the day, that's what Alto was shooting for, was to have something that everybody can bring home and have either for the garage band, or have for the kids in the rec room, have for anybody in the rec room. Just have a big party system. Something you can entertain 25 to 50 people depending on how you're using it. It's really if you have a controller already or a mixer and you want some speakers because you want to step up a bit and you want to have the full package, this is definitely what you're looking for. Anytime you do something for free but you want to do it big, that's what you're looking for. So tent parties, backyards, big events, but private stuff, right? So for yourself to have fun, it's all about me. I want to have something big at home. I don't just want a home stereo, and I don't want a party speaker in the back, but I really want to have fun with stuff. So you can buy it and just use it on its own, or you can buy 2 and add it to, let's say, something you already have, like a controller, stuff like that. But if you're looking in the ballpark of, buying a Mixtrack Pro 3 or anything like that, controller-wise, to really get the hang of it, and you want to have some speakers to go along with that, definitely a great place to look at. And for any other reason, I mean, if you've had speakers and you bought in low price entry level consumer products, which are, by the way, very popular. Don't let anybody say, oh, they're cheap knockoff. They're not. They're just consumer products, not commercial products. But that's that middle point. So again, if you're looking for something that has a lot of bass to it, it's got an incredible amount of volume to it, and it sounds like you're in a big club setting at home or anywhere else you're going to use it, there you go, the TX2 series from Alto. So we're going to take it off to the table now, and we're actually going to take a look at the back. All right, so we're back at the table, and now we've brought the speaker onto the table. So we are still talking about the same speaker we just demoed, of course, and that's the TX215. Now, 600 watts peak doesn't sound like a big number, and that's the selling downfall on it, is it doesn't sound like a big number, but it's got a stupid amount of power. Now, the new model versus the old model is really a big cosmetic change. They've gone full grille cover on it. They've updated the look of it. They've gotten it in par with their other models and other manufacturers most of the time. So that's the biggest piece on the front side. Now, as volume goes, yes, you can buy just consumer products which have crazy numbers on them, which they invent all the time. I always say on those ones it's a 2,000, 3,000 watts, but they're on the consumer side. You normally knock a zero off. But in this case here, it's rated at 300 watts, continuous with a 600 watt peak. Much more realistic number, and definitely from what we've been listening to, trying it out here, demoing it in the back, on my own, with you guys watching on the video, plus customers have already come in and taken a listen to it, and we've really played around with this. So we've gone through it. Definitely loud, bassier than a consumer product, and the reason why I make reference to consumer products is because of the price point. It's priced as a consumer product, but it's got all the commercial added power benefits that we see in the more expensive models. So what do we got? It's complete all plastic molding, thick rigidity, good body, resonates well, doesn't distort, amp plate on the back, fan cooled. Again, like I say in all the videos, if the fan's a bother, then you're probably not listening to it loud enough. It's a very quiet fan. I don't even notice it running most of the time. I look to see if it does run, and it does spin. So it's a really good quality fan. It's not one of these whiny, noisy type fans. So I pretty much ignore the fact that it's there. But the reason why it is there is because they're being smart, and they're using technology that they currently have that works really well. And instead of reinvesting in R&D and all those expensive add-on costs, take what works, apply it to this product, and add value to the actual purchase. So make it a better price. And that's what they're doing. So in the TX2 series, they basically carried on that same tradition to do that with the product. Now it's got all the proper certificates on it, which is real nice. Straightforward product. So again, spin it over a little bit more. Now again, this is where we see the commercial application. So unlike a consumer product, consumer products will tend to have Bluetooth, FM radio, MP3, USB, equalizer, bass, treble, all that kind of crazy stuff, because they're assuming you have none of that and they want to give you a finished product. So all your money's getting spent across the board. Here, all your money's getting invested in amp plate, speaker. This is pure, I'm buying power, I'm buying volume, I'm buying bass, I'm buying loud. Now, I only ran it straight up at 12 o'clock, neutral. Now, that being said, that was only half of what an overall knob can do. So I didn't really get to turn it up as much as you'd think maybe I would have. A lot of the consumer products I have pretty much full tilt, maybe 75–80% volume on it. This one we only ran at half. You'll know that you're at your max volume. When it starts to sound bad, dial it back, because depending on the music you play, if you play R&B or if you play jazz, you can turn it up a lot louder because it's not a big, heavy bass predominant setup. If you play anything else that has heavy bass in it, then you're definitely going to see a big difference in where you can go with your volume. But again, you're still going to maintain 80+ dB on it, which is, like I said, it's for me to talk to the person next to me at 24 feet away, which, by the way, I use 24 feet because think of a dance floor at a wedding, right? 24 feet by 24 feet or a little bit bigger than that. So how loud is that going to be, right? If I have to yell to the person next to me 3 feet away, then it's pretty loud. So that's what's going on here. Now, that being said, the knob goes up and down, which is kind of like what knobs do, but more importantly, it's not one of these knobs that basically scale up. So I go from nothing to, oh, that's my line input, so anything but a microphone, and then I keep turning up the dial and that becomes my microphone input. Here they actually put a switch just below it. This really simplifies the use of the product. I'm either on my line input, which is everything but a microphone, or I'm on my microphone, which is basically like 3 times more sensitive, and that allows me to adjust the microphone gain on it. To make it even simpler, on top of that, they put a jack, which doesn't look like a 1/4 inch or doesn't look like an XLR, because it's a combo jack. Means it'll take both the 3-pin XLR cable, so there's my 3-pin, I can line that up, pop that in there, no problem, or it can take a 1/4 inch, which is really handy depending on what I'm going to do with the speaker. If I buy a microphone that came with the cable in the box, unless you went out of your way to make sure you bought one with an XLR cable, you probably came with a free 1/4 inch cable. Don't ask me why they do that. They always, you know, the free cable is 1/4 inch. But that's normally what you're going to get in a standard kit. That's great, but if the speaker doesn't have a 1/4 inch, you can't plug it in. So in this case, it does. It allows you to do both. Now, other ways to hook up the speaker, if you're not using 1/4 inch or XLR, is to either use a 1/4 inch to RC adapter, so it allows me to have an RC attachment on this side, which is my regular home equipment sort of thing, or stuff I may have for cables that hook up my iPad or phones to my other home stereo. And that'll, again, will plug right in there and gives me the adapter so I can plug into that. The other way is slightly better. It's got a better positioning on the actual unit, and this comes either as one solid piece where it's RCA at one end and a male XLR 3-pin at the other end, or I like it if this is available, you like to get it this way. It gives you a little bit of flexibility and it's not as big sticking out of the back. And again, that plugs in the back, and now I have an RCA attachment. So there's my regular home type equipment. Now if you have certain types of controllers, like some of the Newmarks or Pioneers or any of the other brands, you're going to find that they sometimes have just RCA outputs on the back. And that's fine. That's why you want to use the adapter, so you can get into the back here. And now you've got your controller plugged into your speaker. There we go. Now, if you're just going to use this out and about, and you want Bluetooth, Alto's decided to go just straight to the total, which is their Bluetooth interface. It's got a 3-pin XLR on the back. This works on all speakers that have a 3-pin XLR, so it's not just an Alto thing. It works on all of them, but it gives you Bluetooth at a new uncompressed level for audio, which is version 4.2. Now, the added feature, not talk too much about it, but it's really worth talking about, is it allows me to pair my phone or tablet or anything else I have that's Bluetooth to this. But if I had 2 speakers, I can also buy a second one of these, and it's the easiest, quickest way to sync up 2 speakers. So now it has a sync button which broadcasts the signal it's getting and repeats it to another speaker simply by buying a second one of these. And that would plug in again right up on top. Now it's rechargeable, has about 50 hours play, but we're talking about because a lot of people do want Bluetooth, and they want really good Bluetooth, not just regular Bluetooth. So there we are for that. Now, outside of that, it still has the contour option to the top of it and has a ground lift on it. Depending on where it gets plugged in, sometimes it's not plugged in on the same breaker that your mixer is plugged into, or the 2 speakers aren't plugged in the same because you plug one on one side of the room, one on the other side. And that's the most common time you're going to find a grounding noise. It just really helps eliminate that. Now there's lots of other reasons why you'd use that button for more higher end applications, but if you're just using it at home with a controller or a mixer and you're playing around with it and it happens, that's it. So if you find a humming or hissing, that's where you press the button. Now, like I said, there's all kinds of reasons. I'm just trying to relate to the simple ones that come up when people call me on the phone. So there you go. That's what you have there. Now we can talk about this stuff a lot because they're great. They're fun to use. Most importantly, it doesn't have bass and treble control on it or an EQ built into it. If you are using something like Spotify, look to see how you can choose and select your EQ settings on it, because then you don't need a mixer or anything like that, and it works awesome. So we'll take a look at the front, but I think we're pretty much wrapped up on this speaker here today. They're stackable. They put all the feet, line them up so you can, put a whole bunch of them, and they're fun to use. Are they loud? They're absolutely loud. So again, my name's Robin. You've been watching Expert Island. We've been talking about the Alto TX2 15. their second generation of their TX series. Thanks. Bye now.